Okay, we're live. Good morning. This is Attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined by my co-host, Miss Georgette Truan. Miss Truan, how are you this evening? This morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good. And we have Miss Peggy Passmore. Peggy, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for being on the show with us today. And we seem to have lost video on Miss G, so I'll remove her. Tell us, where are you from?
I'm from Maryland,
Oh, okay. What part?
St. Mary's County,
All right. How far is that from DC?
from DC.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a ways, a few hours.
What's that county that's right there next to the Prince George or something like that?
Charles County,
Oh, is it Charles County? Okay.
I
Have you
think.
have you ever heard of Prince George County?
Yes.
Okay. There's somebody that works with me that spent about almost 20 years in Prince George's County, living and working. He's originally from LA, but he went back there and now he's back here in LA. Anyway, so you must have some type of CPS issue going on.
Actually, I do.
What's going on?
So basically, long story short, my kids were already removed from the house because there was already something going on. I was living with people that I thought were my friends. They basically called the grandmother of my kids and told the grandmother a whole bunch of lies about what I was doing to the kids. They took pictures of without my knowledge of the kids and sent them to her. The next thing I know, I had CPS at the door wanting to talk to me, telling me that they weren't even letting me tell my side of the story on anything that happened. They pretty much, you're not getting your kids back, don't even think about it, all that. Went to court, and they ended up putting me in jail for what they said that I did, that I didn't do. I was in jail for almost a year before they decided to get me out. There was a lady in CPS that I was told that was basically running my name through the mud while I was incarcerated. She was telling a whole bunch of stories. Um, she was also at my court date the day that they released me. She was at my court date with the grandmother. Them two were like really tight. Um, she was trying to make it to where I wasn't going to have rights to my kids, this and that, a whole bunch of stuff. Um, then she, so then when I was out and they didn't, say anything about me not having rights, to my kids, then there was an adoption case, which I didn't know nothing about the adoption or anything like that. Like, I didn't get a notice, nothing. Um, the grandmother ended up was able to adopt my son out. Um, she was able to adopt him. So I just think that I was treated unfairly by CPS without even, knowing my side of the story or anything. They just went by hearsay. They didn't give me a chance as a mother.
Did
I
they
feel like.
did they assign you an attorney to help you through this long
Um
process?
yes, I had a public defender. The public defender, he tried his best to try and find out the situation and stuff like that, but he got the same results. um then when I told him that they ended up taking me to court for for an adoption, he knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about it. Um, so I basically went to the adoption case without any without any lawyer or anything, because it was over in Calvert County, the adoption case, and the judge at the adoption, the judge told me I was not able to get a public defender, that I didn't qualify, which I was trying to figure out if I qualified in Maryland, how come I didn't qualify in Calvert?
What's Calvert? Is that a different state?
No, that's in Maryland, but it's like another county, Calvert County.
So they don't give you court-appointed attorneys in that county?
I'm guessing not. They said I did not. They said that I didn't qualify for one.
Well, hold on a second. If you qualified in one county, don't you automatically qualify in the second?
That's what
And,
I thought.
and more importantly, why was it in a different county?
Because that's where she lives, and that's where my child was residing, was with her in Calvert County.
Oh, I see. I see. That's how Maryland does it. They do the
Yeah,
adoption case in whatever county the child is residing
yeah.
in. Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting. Um, well, when was the adoption and did you appeal it? You should have
I tried to appeal it, but the thing of it is I didn't have a lawyer, and I couldn't afford a lawyer, and that's why it never went. It never got appealed or anything like that because I didn't have a lawyer.
How long
Then,
ago was this? How long ago was this?
um, probably about a year ago.
Yeah, it probably is too late, but you should check with a lawyer, make some calls, get a free consult to see if it's too late or if there's anything that you
Yeah,
can do.
I actually talked to a lawyer. I was trying to get, she was trying to investigate everything, but the thing of it is it doesn't show up anywhere. Like, no lawyer can see anything about adoption case or anything.
Well, it's probably like California, it's just confidential from the public. But you can file, it's a little work for the lawyer, but she can file a petition for her to take a look at the documents, or for you to take a look at them, or for both of you to take a look at the documents.
Yeah, because they told me they were going to send me some paperwork from the case or whatever, and I never got anything. So I tried to call the court and asked them if I could get the paperwork, and they told me that in order for me to get the paperwork, I have to have a lawyer call them.
Right. Now, how many children were involved here?
2.
Okay. And how old were they when they were taken away from you?
My daughter was just 1 year old. She just turned 1, and my son was 5.
Yeah, it's very young, very young. Let me ask you something. I mean, you kind of talked about it a little, but it was very general to me. And I'm a lawyer. I like to be very specific. What were they accusing you of to begin with that caused you to leave?
Child abuse.
Specifically, what? Did you beat the kid? Did you break bones? I mean, what
They
were they
said
saying?
that so according to like the paperwork that I got when I was in locked up, they said that my son told them that I kicked him. Now, my son, mind you, my son was 5 years old at the time, and he didn't really talk. Like, he could talk, but you couldn't understand what he said. So
So
I
so
find
he
that hard to believe that he
right.
said something like that.
So he probably didn't say it. At your trial, did they call the child as a
I didn't
witness?
go to trial.
What did you do?
Basically, they the state gave me a plea deal to have to basically turn it down to a misdemeanor to what was it? Second degree assault.
Did you have a court-appointed lawyer for the criminal case as well?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know your case. Haven't reviewed the file, haven't reviewed the evidence. But, and I hate to sound like a lawyer, but if you have a witness that doesn't talk, it's going to be hard for them to prosecute you in a criminal case. So
Yeah, they
I'm not
didn't.
sure. I'm not sure why you would take a plea. Of course, I don't know everything in the case, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So if anybody's watching, and for the other viewers, if you're being prosecuted for child abuse, and they say your son, who's very young and it doesn't really talk, you know this, is going to say that you kicked him, you know, you might want to set the case for trial or at least have an interview of the child if they permit it in your state.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like when CPS came and talked to me about it and everything, I asked them, I said, "Did you talk to him by himself?" And they said no, that the grandmother was standing there. So I'm like, "No, like y'all are supposed to talk to him by himself, like with nobody around." So that gets me thinking that, he was coached on what to say.
Absolutely, absolutely coached. Did you? I don't know if you watch our show regularly, but I think on the show, maybe last week or last 2 weeks ago, I told a story about a case where we were in trial and we found out that the grandmother allegedly coached the child on what to say
Yep.
about accusations against my client, the
See,
father.
I've been dealing with this for years because the grandmother has been dying to take my son. And then, like, I just feel like she used this as to get what she wanted.
Yep.
Right, right, right. She probably did. She probably did. I
I
have a
can see
little.
the pain in her eyes, though. I mean, I can totally see it. I am so sorry, Peggy. Um, but Mr. Davis, is there like an attorney that you might know of in her state?
No, the only person that I knew that lived in Maryland was Bert.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh my God.
He lived there for like, I don't know, 15, 17 years or something.
Oh my
He
goodness.
and he's not a lawyer,
I
but
know, but
he lived. That's the only connection I really have with the state of Maryland, other than what I see on TV. There was a big case in Maryland, seems like a year or two ago, where some cops killed a guy while they were transporting him.
mhm.
There's a big. They all were criminally prosecuted. But that's all I know about Maryland, and it's close to the capital of the
Um,
United States.
well, what Peggy, is there have you ever called the office before and asked for me, or have we talked before? Like you guys use different names on the show sometimes, so I don't know.
No,
Is there is there any way there's a friend of mine that lives in Maryland. I am going to she's actually a paralegal. I just don't know which law firm she's with.
the
Um
thing of it is I can't afford a lawyer. That's why I haven't even tried to talk to anybody.
I know, baby. I get it. I get it. But I want to see what she can do to help you. So can you give me a call? And I am going to ask for her permission to give you her cell number. Okay. And maybe you can communicate with her. Maybe she can help you. She's a paralegal. She's been a paralegal for about 12 years. Okay. And she's a good friend of mine. We went to school together. So I've known her for a lifetime. Okay. So if you can just call the office and ask for me, and then I'll give you her number. How's that? Would that work?
Yeah.
Don't give up hope. Please don't give up hope.
Peggy, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask you, um, but let me ask you a question. It's not related to your story or anything, but it's related to something a couple questions I want to ask you. How old are you?
35.
Okay. And would you like to help me and Miss G in combating CPS in Maryland?
Yeah.
Please do.
What One of the things that I decided, um, and I learned this from a radio show that used to be on before me at KABC, and it was the radio show to impeach an elected official here in California. But it's not that I agreed with them, but I loved the setup they had in trying to get or implement their strategy.
Mm,
So my ultimate goal is to change CPS and change some laws. But one of the things I realized the other night was I'm doing it the wrong way. And by that, I mean, I'm not enlisting enough people to help me. I'm one guy, I run a law firm, I go to court, deal with clients. But how can I help? How could I effectively help someone in Maryland? I can't. I'm not there. I don't think I've ever been there. I don't know anybody there. So I need somebody like you to help me and to help Miss G and to help our reach. And what I'm thinking about doing and try to do is trying to get a team together. First, start with state captains.
what do you
State,
mean, state captain?
of the person in charge of our organization in that state.
Mm-hmm.
And then under them having lieutenants for each county,
Okay.
right? And then under them having sergeants in each of the cities that make up all of the counties.
Mm,
This is exactly how that group, I call it a radio show, but it was I think a nonprofit group, organized. They in California they had a state captain, then they had lieutenants throughout the 57 counties. And then for each county, and some of the counties were big, they had sergeants in each of the cities within the county. So let me give you an example, Miss G. LA County is a huge county. It has a lot of cities in it.
mm-hmm.
So if you were ahead of LA County, your reach in Los Angeles may not be the same thing as your reach in Lancaster
Correct.
or Culver City
Correct.
or Pomona,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally different geographic area, totally different community, totally different networking, and it's kind of grassroots. And by the way, the group that I'm talking about that did this in California, they went state, county, city, and then neighborhoods. I mean, they really got down to the grassroots,
Mm-hmm.
right? Down to the grassroots. So imagine, someone for example, I'll give you a good example, Miss G. You live in LA County.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you live in California, you live in LA County, and you live in the city of Los Angeles. But the neighborhood you live in actually has a name.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it actually has a name. But that neighborhood is different than the neighborhood at the intersection of Crenshaw and Adams. Now, it's kind of near you, but it's a different neighborhood, different people, different community. It's different in the neighborhood where your children live. That's a whole different community,
Right.
right? So you would need someone, or we would need something that goes down to that neighborhood level, right?
Is there anything, I agree, but is there anything we can, like, flyers, bring awareness to CPS? I mean, there's a lot of people who don't know how the government works and taking children from especially moms.
There is, and
I
you know,
need something for them.
social media is the biggest tool,
Oh, I'm
and you
still
know,
thinking old school,
right,
flyers.
right, right, right. It's 2023.
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm sorry,
Right.
I'm old. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so here it is. And here's the problem with the flyers. Here's the problem with the flyers. People throw them away, right?
True.
You paid good money to have them printed and distributed, and most of the people just throw them away. So it's a waste of a lot of money. However, digital social media is free. Can you believe that? They will probably be 750 to 1,000 people that will see this show with Peggy within the next week.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't
Her
beat
eyes
that.
are killing
You
me.
can't beat that. And it's free. So yes, we need to make people aware. But here's the other thing, and I hate to say this, but it's true. You know, I once had a client one time who was, fairly affluent and who caught a CPS case. And he told me something. He said, Mr. Davis, I had heard of CPS before, but I thought that all the people that were in there, parents, deserved to be part of that system.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I looked down on them because, they were quote unquote child abusers
Mm-hmm.
until he caught a case and he realized how unfair this system is. And
Yeah.
it's just taking advantage of people.
It's not just people though, Vincent. They're taking advantage of mothers. And I kid you not, because mothers are very passionate about their children.
Okay, but in
I don't,
my definition of people, there's mothers, there's fathers,
well, whatever.
there's children, there's relatives, there's grandmothers, grandfathers, cousins, aunts, uncles, adult siblings. So that's why I include just
Majority of the cases are always on the mother. Even if the mother called for help because of a domestic violence, the case goes under her name. And you and I both know that. So why is it always the mother's fault for calling for help? Because her husband beat her, right? And then the mother
you
loses
you
the
you
child
know
at the end.
you know the answer to that question, my dear.
Exactly. So that's why I'm focused on mothers right now, because
And go for it. I
I
have no
mean,
problem
it's
with
not
that.
like I'm against dads. I mean, not everybody, no, anybody can be a father, but not anyone can be a dad. There's a huge difference.
Okay,
A
well,
sperm can
I'm not
make
gonna.
him a father, but what I'm
Let's
saying to you is,
well, let's have the impulse control. I'm not talking about that now. I'm talking about organizing state to state, county to county, city
okay,
to
well, yeah,
city
but you made
to
a
make
comment
change.
about, okay, well,
Okay,
you made
to
a
make
comment about
change.
why I have passion for women, and yeah, there's a
Okay,
huge passion.
and I
Just
said,
looking at her eyes, it makes me want to just turn off the camera and just go cry. Her
okay,
eyes are like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just see through people's eyes. I don't know what it is, but
okay.
I am
So
so sorry.
don't forget, we're trying to be successful at what we're trying to do.
I know, I know.
Okay, all right.
I just
So
want to help
listen,
everyone.
I appreciate the passion. That's one of the reasons why I like, doing this show with you. The passion, but we got to be successful,
I
right?
know.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So
So how are we going to
let's get
organize that?
back to Peggy. Let's get back to Peggy. Peggy, would you be interested in being involved either at a captain, lieutenant, or sergeant level?
What does that mean?
That means that you will help organize the fight against CPS in Maryland. If you don't want to, it's okay. I just wanted to ask you. Some people, they get upset if I don't ask them.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
do whatever it takes.
Okay, I want you to email me your contact information. And by contact information, I want your name, your email address, and your mobile number that we can use for texting. And I want you to
Okay.
send that all to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Okay, so I've put that in on all the platforms that we're broadcasting to today. And what you can do is you can email that to Grace after the show, and I'm going to be compiling. I'm going to have a spreadsheet, for each state. It'll have the state captain, and it will have the state lieutenants, for each county, and the state sergeants for all the different cities in that county. Because I think this is the most effective way to get out and to make a change politically. I didn't think of this method. I'm copying it from what I saw happen here in California with a political organization. They, in my opinion, accomplished the almost the impossible by getting something on the ballot. Okay, they didn't win, but what they did was incredible just by pure organization. Okay, and I think that that's what we need to get to, because Miss G and I do this show many times a week, and we do a lot of talking. And I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of sick of talking about it without doing anything about it. You feel me?
I understand you completely. That's why I'm trying to I'm trying to organize people in all the states, and that's the whole goal of my show. The Real Talk with Ms. G and the Gang. We're trying to incorporate all that throughout the states because
Miss G, I want you to see this comment by James.
I love James. Hi, James.
Read the comment for me.
Dads are second class parent to the world. We never matter until the bills are due. I so
right on, James. Tell him, James.
James, I know. I want James on my show. I think Darren was supposed to talk to him. I think. Oh, James and Darren know each other, by the way.
Oh, they do.
I just found that out yesterday on the show. Yeah, yeah. He's James is amazing. He speaks his mind, like doesn't care.
Hey,
No
Peggy,
filters.
Peggy, are you pretty good on social media, like Facebook and stuff like that? TikTok.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, because we're going to do this on social media. The world is on social media. You know that, right? People are getting elected because of social media.
So sad.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a way to get the word out. All right. Obama, in my opinion, became president because of social media. Trump was so good at social media that they banned him. I don't know if you're a supporter or not a supporter of Trump, and I'm not going to make a comment either way, but the guy is a genius in terms of messaging and marketing and social media.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
But that's what we got to become. We all have to become masters to get this out there so people can become aware and so that we can unite. One of the things CPS counts on is that parents will never get together and do anything.
I know. They count on, that's why they want parents to completely be down. Yeah.
So, here's one of the things that's happened. I mean, it's good that it's happening. It's a start, but we got to go beyond this. We have, marches and stuff, but are we really gathering people to vote? Are we influencing or talking to people or getting a message to people on who to vote for? Listen, if you're in the state of Maryland, okay, and you control 500,000 votes because 500,000 people are in your organization,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? People are going to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Laws will be changed.
Mm-hmm.
You will finally have the power that you've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because all that matters when it comes down to it are the votes.
Mm-hmm.
If you can put somebody in office that's going to, promote your agenda, it's just a matter of making a new law. That's all it is. Some people will say, well, you got to consider the economics, blah, blah, blah. And I agree. But listen, we are in an emergency situation at this period of time for parents and families and children. Okay.
This is a worldwide thing too, Vincent. I get calls from Canada and United Kingdom as well, and maybe a few from Hawaii. They're stealing children everywhere. Everywhere. They're literally stealing children. Did you guys hear about the case that they adopted a teenager and they are making her a slave at home, meaning they have to take care of all the other young kids, change their diapers, do chores. Like the mother or the adoptive idiot um, doesn't do anything at home.
Did I ever tell you the
So
story
sad.
about did I ever tell you about the story about a woman who first worked for me?
Hmm.
Um, she was like a receptionist, legal assistant, and it turned out that she was also a foster child.
Oh my goodness.
And she was a foster child in a home where they were legal guardians, legal guardianship.
Right.
And she alleged that she was made to do everything,
Yep.
cleaning, cooking,
Yep.
scrubbing floors, whatever, by the mother, and that she was used as a sexual object by the father.
Exactly.
And
They're not father. He's not a father, and she's not a
well,
mom. Just say
you know
adopted.
that, yeah.
Okay, right. They're not. They're fucking
And
idiots.
and after she told me that she had been working for me for a while, knowing that I did these types of cases, she never mentioned it to me. And then one day, we were talking, and she disclosed that to me.
Hmm.
We eventually brought a lawsuit on her behalf, and we sued them successfully, by the
But
way.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. But so you can sue them even though she's grown?
Oh yeah, you know what? As a matter of fact, the laws in California and I think across the country, because this is, we're finding out that the sexual molestation of children is, something that's happening that we just never know about or we never talked about it. So California had a law at that time that you could bring a lawsuit before you turn 20. So minor, if something happens to you as a kid, you had until 20 to sue.
What about brainwashing a child, like alienating a child?
Let me finish the answer. Then California extended that past 20. Now I've heard that it's extended far out from that. So
Hmm.
so yes, you can be an adult. Haven't you seen these commercials about that lawyer on TV in LA County where, were you ever sexually abused by anyone, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. Call us. So yeah, you can pursue it. People never thought anything like that would happen, so they would do, you know, these things to children. But the law has opened up.
What
Now,
about
it
if it's your blood and your flesh and blood that did that to the child?
doesn't matter. Does not
So they
matter.
can sue their own dad, father, and their
Absolutely.
own stepmom and
Abs-
all that.
absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, I I don't want to say anything to break any confidentiality, but we are probably going to represent a man who is, I think he's 32 years old, against against an adult relative who perpetrated sexual abuse on the man when he was like 12 or 13.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's the really sad part about it, not only did it happen, but allegedly happened, but the effects that he still has in his early 30s from something that happened like 20 years ago. So yeah, the law has loosened up and is allowing people to go after that. And by the way, that happened because people just changed laws. They just changed the law. Before it was you had until you're 20. Then it was you had until you're 25. Now they've opened it up.
To
Why?
18.
Why? Because the laws were changed because people kept pushing. People kept pushing to change the law. And that's what is needed here. Parents need some type of bill of rights. interviews should be videotaped and audio taped.
Yep.
Police wear body cams. Why can't social workers do that? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
People are entitled. Parents are entitled. Should be entitled to choose if they want a jury to
Yep.
be, tried by their peers. In some states, to a certain extent, CPS cases, you are entitled to some type of jury trial, but not in California.
Mm-hmm.
And I mention this to you because we have a client right now who's insisting upon a jury trial, and I keep trying to
I
tell the
know. I saw that. I saw that
I
in
keep
the
trying to
group
tell the
text.
client, you're not entitled. Unfortunately, in California, I'd love for you to be entitled to a jury trial. I'd love that, but you're not.
She doesn't believe it though, because in the group text she
But
said
we
he
don't have to discuss it.
Googled it.
We don't
I
have to
know.
discuss it.
She Googled it. Not true.
Okay. All right. So, Peggy, don't forget, I want you to email Miss Grace. Give us your information. We're going to start with Maryland right away. And if anybody's looking, you want to be a captain, a lieutenant, or sergeant in our fight in your state, you also please email Grace at msn.com. Grace is going to start an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group. We're going to have a private email thread. It's going to be quite organized. Okay. All right, Peggy, I want to thank you again for coming on and sharing. I really appreciate it, and we'll be in contact. And I look forward to working with you on CPS reform. Okay, Peggy? And by the way, call Georgette, and she might be able to set us up on a conference call, and we can talk some more about some things that you might be able to do regarding your case. Okay? All right, you're muted, but okay. All righty.
Oh,
You
thank you.
yeah, you muted yourself. All right.
I didn't mute myself.
I think she was talking to somebody and she might have muted, but it's okay. I'm glad Peggy came on the show. I think she's going to get some good information from us, and she's going to hopefully help us in the fight in Maryland CPS.
I like her. Her eyes are so innocent looking. She's so cute. I mean, God.
Okay, we have Deidre Payne, our first volunteer. She wants to be a captain in Orange County. Sounds good, Deidre. You know who to contact. Her name is Grace at vincentwdavis.com.
Great.
James said, Can I bend the caption slappy? Okay,
James,
I think James was trying to make a joke and he misspelled a couple words.
I think so, a lot of words.
So James, the joke's on you, man.
He can be a captain at his state, and Darren can be the captain in the Maine state of Maine.
I don't think I maybe in my career, 37 years this year career, I think I've talked to 2 people from Maine, and Darren's one of them. Okay, Deidre says the victim sometimes doesn't want to open a lawsuit because it's opening up those wounds, and it would be too hard to have to reopen. Yeah, I've learned that over the years from people. Everybody doesn't want to be in a lawsuit, even if they were going to win.
You want to be on the show on the 24th with me? I'm inviting you right now. On my show, Elizabeth Jacobo is going to be on there.
Okay. Well, if I'm available, I'll of course be on.
Okay. I'll remind
you. No, you have to check with Joni to make sure that I'm available on that day and time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I might have stuff already scheduled. I don't know. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, Miss G, thank you for joining me this morning on Saturday morning. Will you be on the show tomorrow morning at 9:30?
Yes, sir. I will be.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll see you then. Everyone, thank you for watching, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 9.